Welcome back to Cyber and Tech with Dre. The last episode we spoke about the dark web and we sort of demystified some of the concepts of the deep web and the dark web. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how we can browse the internet safely. From our last video, we learned that most of the information lies within the deep web. The surface web is where we typically browse and access different applications for daily use. Threat actors access the surface web and also the deep web to get the information that they need for trading and to leverage to create malware, perform ransomware attacks, steal other sensitive and confidential information, etc. Depending on who you ask, whether you are a typical everyday browser or an administrator of a database, the best practices are typically similar, and these best practices are required for you to keep your information safe, to keep your devices safe, and to keep your network safe. This will thereby prevent or reduce the possibility that your data is made available on the dark web. In this video, we're going to go through some of these best practices and look at some everyday examples of breaches that have occurred. The internet has proven to be one of the world's greatest inventions ever. It has revolutionized the way we live in terms of our daily activities, our existence, socializing, entertainment, and also communicating with each other. It has become the go-to tool to enhance our capabilities and also in assisting us to make our lives much easier. Now, the hackers, they are aware of the fact that most people will be online at some point. So in order to protect ourselves, there are several behaviors and practices that we should implement in order to keep us as safe as possible from these threat actors. One of the first best practices that I'm going to talk about is passwords. Passwords is one of the most common weaknesses that threat actors have taken advantage of over the years. So this is very important to have good password practices. One of the first things you want to do is to make sure that you change default passwords on your devices, such as your routers and your computers and the accounts within those machines. When changing these passwords, the strength of the password is very important, as it will add a layer of difficulty to anyone that's trying to break into your machine or get access to your accounts. Hackers have a wide array of technologies and software that can crack weak passwords in a matter of seconds. To give a better idea of what that strong password is, would be a 12-character password with alphanumeric characters including uppercase and lowercase, and special characters which may also be a sentence and spaces included. Once you have established a method to construct your password, it's important that you do not use a single password for multiple platforms, as this will make it much easier for threat actors to get access to multiple assets or multiple accounts that you may have. While it is very good to have strong passwords, it might not be enough to keep threat actors out. Therefore, as a backup, you want to have multi-factor authentication on your systems so that whoever is trying to gain access will be required to use other factors to authenticate that they do have authorization to to access these accounts. Multi-factor authentication means that you have more than one way to verify your identification. This means, apart from username and password, the person requiring access will be required to produce something else to verify that they are who they say they are. This might include an email, a code, or simply answering a phone number, a phone call that was entered in their system to be used as a multi-factor authentication. Because of the sophistication that hackers use when they are creating websites to deceive browsers, there are certain things that you can do to reduce your chances of being caught in one of these sites. One of the things you can do is look for the secure browser symbol, which is a padlock towards the left of your browser. Secure browsers also have HTTPS in their URLs. So inspecting the URL, you can look for the HTTPS, which means that it is using secure socket layer or transport layer security to secure your communication. It must be noted, however, that this does not guarantee that you are indeed entering a safe site. However, there are other things that you can look for that will reduce your chances of going on an insecure browser. There are certain sites that are more likely to have malicious threat actors or more likely to be malicious, such as adult sites, social networking sites, and file sharing sites. These websites are mostly prone to spyware and other malicious activities such as phishing. Threat actors target these sites because they are aware of the different things that are usually in demand when it comes to these sites. Of course, there are other steps that we can take to make sure that we have the least chance possible to be attacked or to be successfully hacked by a threat actor. A lot of the information that's made available on the dark web comes from third-party providers. This gets into the hands of bad actors because we have little control over these third-party providers. The third-party providers get the information from things such as our browsers, our social media sites, and also based on our browser settings. With this in mind, we need to take actions such as managing your privacy settings in your social media and internet browsers. It is important to check the default settings in your privacy settings for all of these to make sure that the authorized persons that can access these applications are the ones that you desire to do so. When it comes to communicating online, a secure connection is of utmost importance. This is because if your connection is not secure, it may be intercepted by threat actors who may get your sensitive and confidential information. One way that you can do this is by the use of a VPN. This will mask your location, thus preventing interception of your data. VPNs also hide your location from your service provider and also prevents your activity from being tracked. Depending on the provider and the plan that you decide to pay for, There are certain services that will enhance the security of your connection. And using a free VPN, this may not necessarily be safe, as you may be limited with the types of anonymity and other services that you may need to prevent interception and also disclosure of your location. The router is a piece of equipment that is often overlooked by the common user that browses the internet. However, you may find that an unpatched router may be susceptible to several attacks. Therefore, it's important to make sure that your router is sufficiently patched, and this means that you need to download the latest firmware for your router and keep it updated so that it's not susceptible to these different types of exploits. Your router settings also need to be changed to a mode that will encrypt your Wi-Fi network. To do this, you will have to change to WPA2, which is one of the more recent formats or configurations. You can also do the WPA3 that will provide the highest level of security for your Wi-Fi network. It is also a best practice to rename the name of your router, because the default name for your router will give a hacker enough information to know the vulnerabilities of that specific router. With a change in router name, it makes it a little bit more difficult for a hacker to determine what kind of exploits may be successful. Another security best practice that we can implement is also having antivirus in place on your systems and making sure that this antivirus is up to date. A good antivirus solution will have software that can prevent malicious software from targeting your network browser. Most operating systems come with a built-in antivirus software. However, this may not be sufficient to protect your browser from malicious attacks. It is therefore recommended that you download additional anti-malware software to protect your browser from emerging threats. Another way that people fall victim to attacks is by downloading from unknown sources. One should think about what it might cost you if you download malicious software to your device, or if you compromise an entire network because you wanted to watch a movie that you would otherwise have to pay for, but you chose to download from an unknown source. While you may have the pleasure of playing that video game or listening to that music, you might be breaching the privacy of an entire network, or you might be unleashing spyware and other malware into the network, which will end up in loss of jobs or even loss of lives. So this is one thing that you need to consider when you are downloading from unknown sources. Another best practice is also to be mindful of the different scams that are online, particularly cryptocurrency scams. These are on the rise, and many investors have lost their entire life savings within a matter of seconds to hackers. If you do decide to engage in activities that involve cryptocurrency, there are certain tips that you can go by to protect your assets, such as taking your digital assets offline in a cold wallet, using credible crypto exchange platforms. Be wary also of different phishing expeditions that may target these crypto assets. Work with your ISP provider to protect your phone number from SIM jacking and also SIM swapping attacks. While it is not an exhaustive list, these are some things that you can do to make sure that you are safer when you browse online. Now, we're going to look at some of the instances where security breaches have happened, and of course, more than likely, this data is available on the dark web. As soon as you start browsing and looking for different breaches, you will see a myriad of different breaches, and what you realize is that the threat actors target everyone, particularly people who are high-level targets which can give them a particular asset. These people have to be very careful, and even for the different organizations, the level of effort that's put in by threat actors will be much greater. But that does not mean that as a regular person that you should not take steps as well, because you might be another link that they might use to pivot to go into your organization, or they can take over your device and use it as a bot to do a distributed denial of service, for example. So all in all, it's best that you take steps to protect yourself while you're browsing online. As you can see, breaches occur quite frequently, and if you go and Google, you will see a lot more than I'm putting out here. I hope that you have a better understanding after watching this video. And remember, if you haven't clicked the like button, please click and share your comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed as yet, remember to click that subscribe button. I hope that you have gained some value from watching this video, and I look forward to bringing you more content. Thank you for watching.